So this is a little different in some ways from the photos I've been posting recently, although kind of the same in some other ways too. Obviously, this is not a flower, but this image shares some similarities with some of the flower pictures I've been posting. If you haven't tried taking pictures of mushrooms, which sounds like it's weird, but like I'm going somewhere with this, I promise. If you haven't tried taking pictures of mushrooms, I strongly recommend it. Partly because they're just so cool looking. You got all these neat shapes and textures with mushrooms, but also because it's almost like a built-in photo opportunity with the lighting. Mushrooms generally grow in areas that are great for photography. They generally grow in dark, moist areas that also get some degree of sunlight. And that's what you get here. That's what you're seeing here. This mushroom is about, I'd say, 4 or 5 inches tall. It's pretty big as far as these things go. And it sprouted up one morning after a day or two of rain. And this is near Theta Pond on the OSU campus. And I had to run an errand across campus. I brought my camera with me, and I thought maybe I'll take some flower pictures or something, but there wasn't a lot of flowers out. Instead, I saw this mushroom, and it was like in this little canopy of green leaves underneath a bush, and it was great for taking a picture. So that's exactly what I did. I literally set my camera on the ground, and I think I used a 2-second self-timer to make sure it wasn't going to vibrate, but I took this picture, and it was fine, but I realized like there wasn't, something was not quite right, and I couldn't figure it out. And then I stood up and I kind of rotated around about 90 degrees, and then it hit me. It was the lighting. So the mushroom itself made for a pretty interesting picture, especially because it's just this brown floor of wood chips and dirt, and then this bright white mushroom stalk with this cool looking cap sticking up out of it. So by itself, the mushroom made for an interesting photo subject. But when you combine that with the lighting, that's when it really came together. And what wasn't working at first was I wasn't shooting it with from the right angle to get the right kind of shot that I was looking for. And what you end up with here is this sense that there's a covering, a canopy, almost like this mushroom is hidden, tucked away in a little glen or glade in the forest. That actually wasn't the case. Right behind me was a sidewalk. It wasn't any like secret location, but it feels like you're kind of peeking into this tiny little world with this mushroom and this glowing green behind it. I actually tried a little bit more. I continued rotating myself around this mushroom, and it took some more photos where some light was peeking through a little bit more, and it just didn't work. I came back to this one as my favorite of the bunch because of that lighting, and I really like the color scheme here too. It's really 3 main colors. There's green/yellow, like the greeny, the plant leaf tones, then the browns at the bottom, and then the white/gray in the middle. It's really distinct. All the colors are distinct from each other, but they all work together because they're all these very natural, earthy colors. It looks really cool. I shot this at f4, and I focused using live view because my camera was sitting on the ground, and I tilted the screen upwards, and I focused on the little hat, the top, whatever it's called. And I think maybe I could have used like a slightly smaller aperture, like maybe 5.6 or something, just to get a little bit more sharpness to the mushroom. But it worked out okay. In fact, it worked out great. I really like how this photo turned out. There's so much that went right about this. Sometimes I feel like I'm overly critical of my own shots. Not here, man. I am a huge fan of this photo. I'm really happy with how this turned out.